Welcome back, and thanks for your patience between these critique videos. They take a lot of time to make, and I just haven't had enough time to put one together lately. I think it's better to take longer and do a better job than rush it. So, welcome to part 2 of my in-depth critique and analysis of The Last Tinker: City of Colors. Last time we looked at the overarching themes of the game and its world. We examined how this is not a game about racism, but about showing how different people can and should get along and work together to the benefit of everyone. We also looked at how its use of a white bleakness for evil and color for good can have a positive effect on our real-world perceptions. This time, let's take a closer look at the 3 color spirits, red, green, and blue, and the positive and sometimes inadvertently negative lessons they teach us. The first spirit you encounter is the red spirit. His followers are violent and aggressive bullies, always trying to pick a fight, so this spirit is obviously the spirit of violence and aggression. Or is he? When you enter the Red Dojo to seek the Red Spirit's help, you encounter Bolzo, the leader of the gang of bullies that has been giving you trouble all this time. He asks you for your help unbleaking his friends, and mentions that the Red Spirit doesn't talk to his followers anymore. No explanation is given, but couldn't it be that he no longer approves of their behavior? In fact, the Red Spirit himself never actually hurts anyone. He does threaten to hit people now and then, but he never follows through on it, and these threats feel more like verbal releases of aggression rather than genuine intent to harm. On the other hand, the Red Spirit's behavior is indicative of something else. Red Spirit constantly wants to get things done. He's impatient and full of energy. He can't wait while others stand around and talk. He's a spirit of action. He gets an idea and wants to act on it immediately, and seems unable to sit still while others make carefully thought-out plans. Frequently, he'll start shouting, then immediately apologize like he's trying and failing to control his impulses. It seems to me that the Red Spirit isn't a spirit of aggression at all, but of hyperactivity. As I've mentioned before, I'm a teacher, and I've had several students with ADHD. These students face constant struggles in a classroom environment. They're expected to sit still in a body that needs to be always moving. They're expected to think through things slowly and carefully, with a brain that wants to act immediately. They're required to direct their focus according to the teacher's instructions, and they just can't. They're constantly pushed to conform to the expectations of a society they don't fit into easily, especially at this age, and told again and again that there is something wrong with them. Keeping in mind that this game is, at least in part, clearly aimed at children, the Red Spirit provides a positive role model and teaches some valuable lessons. Yes, the Red Spirit is hyperactive and impatient, but he gets things done. He gives you the power to fight. But that power isn't used for aggression, it's used for self-defense and to help and protect others. The Red Spirit's enthusiasm and impatience keep you going when you might hesitate, and push others to act when they might be too afraid or waste too much time thinking and miss an opportunity. Without a little hyperactivity, you couldn't possibly save the world. I'm very much in favor of the way this spirit is presented. Second is the green spirit. You find him hiding, running away from danger and growing progressively more paranoid. Anxiety has taken over his life, and he can no longer function outside of his protected bubble. But you need his help to save the world, so you have to drag him out of there and force him to face his fears. In the end, he winds up being imaginative and curious, the most adventurous of all. The idea behind this spirit is that when somebody spends too much time in an isolated, protected space, they tend to develop anxiety, which can severely impact their quality of life. Imagination and curiosity can be used to think up ever more terrifying possible dangers when not directed to a more constructive purpose. All of these things are true and good lessons to teach. On the other hand, the way they deal with helping the green spirit is, well, problematic is a mild term. Doc Brown, resident genius in the Green District, suggests that the green spirit needs to be reminded how good it feels to be curious and adventurous, and that the best way to do that is to drag him, kicking and screaming, into one of his greatest fears. It is a very dangerous misconception that a person with anxiety should be forced to confront the thing causing them problems. As someone who has fought severe anxiety myself, I was horrified by this presentation. First of all, anxiety can be caused by the factors shown in the game, but it can also be caused by many other things. In some cases, it's related to a trauma in the person's past. In some cases, it's a chemical imbalance in the brain, which can't be changed without medication. The potential causes are many and complex, and in most cases, forcing the person into a situation that causes them anxiety will do harm, not good. It will make things worse. A large part of anxiety is a feeling of a lack of control. Effective treatments often include helping the person find ways to feel more in control of their life. Facing a trigger might be helpful in certain situations, but only if the person is ready for it and makes the decision themselves. Forcing someone takes even more control away from them, which will only cause them to retreat further. I know that a simple video game can't help but be reductive. Anxiety is such a complex issue, it's impossible to address it in depth in a simple game like this. But they certainly could have done a better job. After you've dragged a terrified green spirit up the broken down windmill, Blight at your heels every step of the way, he does a total 180. Suddenly he's overjoyed to be up there and thanking you for forcing him to come. This is a completely unrealistic outcome, and teaching this lesson is very dangerous. There are already too many situations in the media where a psychological issue or mental illness is magically cured by good intentions and love, often by doing things that, in the real world, would only make the problem worse. I'm disappointed that they bungled this one so badly, and I think they could have done a much better job. Fortunately, they did do a better job with the Blue Spirit. Blue is creative and wise, but deeply depressed, and so are all his followers. When you find him in his dojo, he tells you about Eva, a flower with a beautiful singing voice that always cheers him up when he's sad. This introduction immediately makes it clear that Blue's depression is chronic. It's something he faces regularly and must regularly fight. Depression is another complex topic with a myriad of potential causes and treatments, and one which is not easily reduced to the simplified version needed for a short game designed for kids. But they actually did a pretty good job here. In reality, there are a lot of misconceptions around depression, as with nearly all psychological issues. Some common misconceptions are that it can always be cured or even treated via therapy or medications, or that it's some kind of weakness in the depressed person which they should be able to snap out of. For many people, depression is a chronic and ever-present part of their lives. Even antidepressants only work for about 20 to 60% of people, depending on what research you look at, and there is no magical way to fix it. Some people struggle with it for their entire lives, despite trying every possible treatment. In the case of the Blue Spirit, his treatment comes in the form of beautiful Eva. Eva can be thought of as a metaphor for medication, or for a friend which is always there when he needs her, or for a hobby that consistently helps him get through bad times. In any case, Eva has been taken away from him by the bleakness, and he doesn't have the strength to fight the bleakness and pull himself out of his current depression. Koru and Tap need to help him. As luck would have it, Eva had a sister, and hearing her sing turns out to be the key to getting Blue in good enough condition to join the fight against the bleakness. However, even then, Blue doesn't magically get better. He isn't instantly cured, and he continues to be melancholic and negative throughout the rest of the adventure. This is far more realistic than the instantly cured Green Spirit, and also sends the positive message that even someone who is battling depression can be strong and important to those around them. The chronic nature of depression is also demonstrated very well by the character of the Admiral. When you meet him, he is overcome with sadness, convinced he can never live up to his father's reputation. But you help him and show him how important he still is. You get him going once by rallying his soldiers behind him, but in the very next scene, he loses hope immediately when he discovers that there is a mechanical problem stopping them from getting to the harbor. It's a constant fight to get him to take the next step, no matter how many successes he finds. When you fight the first boss monster in the harbor, it is you that actually kills the monster, but it's with the help of the Admiral and his soldiers. In the end, although everyone acknowledges that Koru is the hero, they give the Admiral the same amount of praise and admiration for his role in the battle. This is one of my favorite lessons in the game, that needing help doesn't take anything away from a victory. There doesn't have to be just one hero. This is something we don't see often enough in games. There is still a lot more to look at in this game. In coming episodes, we'll take a close look at some more characters like Koru and the Purple Spirit, analyze a few more themes and problems that the game has, and finally look deeply into the mechanics of the game and how they work with the themes to create a very satisfying experience. Keep an eye out for the next episode. Until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.